This model here is from a company called Awao. They sent it out to me in exchange for the review you're watching, and it does come with that Tiger 618 chipset. We've seen this octa-core chipset before. It has a Mali G52 graphics. This particular model they call the CreaPad 1009. As you can see, it does have a keyboard cover. Now the screen on this, it is 10.1 inches. It's an IPS panel. The resolution is 1920 by 1200, so 16 by 10 aspect ratio. It has dual speakers that are apparently meant to be 2 watts, supports micro SDs, and runs a stock Android 11 ROM. So with the box here, we have an instruction manual. Now, if you do register with them, you get a warranty of 36 months, which is quite a lot for a budget tablet. Type A to Type C cable, and then our charger. Now this charger, USB 1, is only rated to 10 watts. So that means that it's very slow to charge the 5000 mAh battery. It takes about 2.5 hours. Also included is this here. So we get a type cover style keyboard. It looks a little dated now, this particular design. You can see it's the QWERTZ. This is the German one here that they have an offer. And typing on it is okay, but it's certainly, I wouldn't call it a premium keyboard experience, but it does the job. So the tablet just simply fits into the back of it right there, and you can fold it right up, and it's a protective case for it. So this here, that folds down and creates a stand for it. This Android 11 tablet weighs 540 grams. It's alloy here on the back. It picks up a few fingerprints handling it. The thickness of this one is 9 millimeters. We've got a 13 megapixel camera right here with very poor photo quality. Your phone will do a much better job. LED flash, but hey, at least we do have cameras with it. So the top part along here, that is all plastic. So around the outside here, that is all metal, that's alloy. We've got a Pogo port pin connector, of course, for that keyboard I just showed you before briefly. 2 downward firing 2-watt speakers. And up the top, we do have a micro SD card slot. So I have tested out 128 gigabyte cards in this, and it works fine. So great having the expandable storage, but it does not support 4G with this model. Other Tiger T618 models have had the 4G support, and there is a 3.5mm headphone jack here. Quality out of this one, it sounds fine, but it's definitely not the best I've heard. On the right side, there's absolutely nothing, and here on the left, we've got a microphone down the bottom, our Type-C slot for data and charging, of course, a reset button, and here are volume up and down and power buttons. Now, they feel okay, but these are made out of plastic. So with this screen here, it does come with a pre-applied screen protector. The touch response and the accuracy does seem to be fine. I really have not had any problems with it. Now and then, it's not super quick. The spec of it, it's got the 4 gigabytes of RAM, and sometimes triggering the gestures can be a slight delay there sometimes with that. So you see as I swipe here from the side, we go back. I'll just take a look at some real world images too, have a look at those. And overall, I think most people are going to be happy, especially at this price point with this screen. I mean, it's not an HD screen, it's full HD and at 1200p, and not too bad there. You can see that the blacks certainly don't look super deep. What else could you expect really from an IPS? It's no OLED screen for sure, but all up, for this price point, I think it's an okay screen. And under display settings, you will find our typical Android 11 options. So we have a dark theme, which is of course the night mode. Night light, that's our blue light filter. We've got our scaling options right here. Color and contrast, very typical, and good to see that it is available to us. Contrast and then the white balance. And right down the bottom here, the scaling, and there's even this backlight power saving, which I did not use, but if you were to turn this on, that would, in theory, save a little bit on your battery, which is not amazing on this tablet. Now, this chipset is that octa-core, the Tiger 618, which is really the best you can get for the affordable tablet segment. And the performance in general, I don't really have any major complaints. It is as expected, like it's not blazing fast. 60 Hz screen too, of course. So when you move back and forth, you can see there a slight little delay, but really this is what you can expect out of this chipset with the 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now, other models I have seen that have the 8 gigabytes do tend to feel a little bit quicker, but so far this is not too bad. You can see that when you do multitask, I'll just quickly go over to a different app here. GPS support is on board, FM radio, then it's okay, but I would not open up a huge amount of applications. If you've got a game running in the background, you really don't want to have Chrome, Play Store, and about 10 other things open, because then it will start to definitely bog down a little bit there. So let's have a look at some benchmarks. But before I do, is that it does not come with any bloatware. It's a stock Android 11 ROM, which is great. So that helps free up a little bit more of the resources. We don't have a laggy launcher and lots of junk applications that you need to go and remove. And free available storage on first boot is approximately around 116 gigabytes. Remember, it does have micro SD card support. Now, the charge time is a little slow at that 10 watts, and a 5,000 milliamp hour battery isn't the largest either for a 10.1 inch tablet. It does take around 150 minutes to fully charge. The battery life, so I managed to achieve 7 hours here with the fixed benchmark here from PCMark. Now, other tablets can get around 10 hours. So it is a little short here on the battery life, which is a bit disappointing. With that capacity, I was really hoping that maybe it had a 6,000 milliamp hour battery that would surely go for at least another hour more than this particular tablet. The Antutu score here shows that it's not a powerhouse. This is not a flagship or even a mid-range tablet. Certainly not. It is the affordable lower end segment with this Antutu score, which is nothing amazing. So the internal storage here, not particularly fast. So we get around 250 sequential reads and 200 writes. The random reads and writes there are a little on the lower kind of end, but this is an eMMC drive. This is not UFS, so the speeds really are to be expected. You cannot expect it to be blazing fast when no, it just simply does not have that spec of storage. So here with the wireless, we do have wireless AC, so connected up to my wireless 5 router, Wi-Fi 5, that it is able to achieve pretty much standard speeds here for this kind of chipset, all right? So the maximum speeds will top out at 180 megabits per second, and downstairs, further away from my router, it still is able to get over 100, which I'm happy with. If it got under, then that would not be great. So on board with this one, there is GPS. It takes a long time to get the first lock. It took about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes or so, and it's around 1 meter to 2 meters to sometimes about 3 meters with accuracy. Unfortunately, there is no hardware compass on board. It's just the GPS, but at least we do have it. And as expected for a Chinese tablet here, that we do not have a Widevine level 1 cert. It is level 3. So I tested out Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, all stuck sadly in standard definition unless they decide to apply and get the level 1 cert here. I do believe we will probably be stuck with just standard definition forever with those video streaming services. Disney Plus too, that's going to be in standard definition. And our audio performance now, so disappointing speakers. The two downwards firing, apparently 2-watt speakers are very quiet. They could certainly be a lot louder. As I mentioned, we've got that 3.5mm headphone jack at the top. That output is okay, certainly not the best, but it's the speakers here that really should be a lot louder. But here's a sample now of them at 100%. And now our gaming performance here with the tablet. This is PUBG, and I do have it set to the smooth option, which gives us Ultra. Ultra is 45 frames per second, balanced, and if you go to HD, it drops it down then capped at 30. So you really ideally want to have the best frame rate. So I'm going to test it out now with the Ultra frame rate option and smooth. It is running as expected here, 45 frames per second cap. When you look around, it's fast, it's smooth. And I have increased the sensitivity of the screen. That's how I'm quickly able to whip around like that. And why the motion seems a little bit more jerky there, that it's not super smooth. That's because of that sensitivity. So looking around here, down the sights, not a problem. It seems to be the whole time 45 frames per second. So all the titles out there, they will be playable, but you want to keep the visuals on the lowest possible setting with this low-end chipset. One thing I didn't really expect with this tablet to have is a haptic feedback motor. So when you do type it away just a little, you can feel the little pulses coming through on the keyboard. Now the vibration is very, very light. It's just a little whiz, whiz, whiz kind of noise, and you just feel it coming through on the screen when you are typing away. So I'm in Chrome here and just been searching, of course, with Google, so that performance does seem really good. It is very, very fast, and I'll just load up YouTube via Chrome. Well, it's gone into the application right now here too. That's fast. So your day-to-day general kind of use on this tablet is quick. The performance here for things like internet media consumption, YouTube, watching movies is really what this particular tablet is about. And that would also mean ebooks too, which I'll show you now. Just open up Google Books. And I'm using that Play Books to load up PDF files right here. So this is a large PDF file, and it's handling it without really any problems. So for things like ebooks, PDF files like that, the screen does look good. The text is sharp. And ebooks, they do look quite good on this screen because of that resolution. Perfectly fine at 10.1 inches, the 1920 by 1200, sharp enough. And double tapping there, zooming in, text is sharp. And you can invert the text here with Google Books, the colors that is, so you can have a black background, white text, and you can also put on that blue light filter that is built into Android 11. And this is a sample of what you can expect out of the front-facing 5-megapixel camera, 720p video only. It looks quite dark, even though I've got bright lights on. And what you're hearing, of course, is the microphone. The rear camera, that can shoot in 1080p, but it's very similar quality, not brilliant. So your phone will do a much better job than this tablet. The final verdict on this one, it's an Android 11 tablet for your basic Android tablet needs. Okay, so that's ebooks, browsing, checking emails, okay, and videos, everything like that. However, Netflix, of course, and Amazon Prime Video, as I mentioned, they run in standard definition with a tablet like this. It's very common. A lot of the ones that I do cover, ones out of China, pretty much all of them will not have the level 1 certification, which you do need for DRM. It's level 3 here, so that's why. And I doubt they are probably going to update that. So it's great to see that it has Android 11, that it does not have any bloatware. It is a stock ROM. The ROM performance is okay. I wouldn't rate it as phenomenal. It's not super fast, but it does the job there. It's quick most of the time. Unless you start to multitask a lot, then you do notice that 4 gigabytes of RAM becomes a little bit of a limitation there. So we do have 128 gigabytes of storage, which is a positive. We've got micro SD card support, another pro there, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. The audio out of that headphone jack is fine, but a big complaint from me is the speakers on this. They are simply not loud enough. They should be a lot louder than they are. They are very quiet speakers. The cameras are not great either. The gaming performance is as to be expected for this type of chip with the Mali G52 graphics. That it's okay, as I showed you. PUBG, 45 frames per second. It's not a demanding game, so any not really super demanding games like that will run fine on this tablet. But anything that is a really demanding game, you certainly want to lower down the visual settings to try to achieve the best frame rate possible. So there we go, that's the full story there of the Wow. This is the CreaPad 1009 from them. Thank you so much for watching this review.